Very good. And there we are. Yay! Fantastic.
Yay!
Hey everyone, how are you today? We will talk about getting your own students, and we have the wonderful Anna Boogaerts with us. Hi Anna, nice to have
Hi,
you here.
Maggie. Thank you for the introduction. I'm so happy to be here.
Fantastic. Anna has a management and business degree, and she is a creative and talented designer, creating graphic design and websites and other beautiful and useful things that a lot of you probably consider as necessary elements in building a successful online educational service. She's also here in another role today because she's actually taking the Booked Out with Students course actively as a teaching community team member, because we are working on a case study for us as a team taking our own course. So Anna, so good to have you here as a student as well.
Thank you. Dual perspective, always helpful.
Exactly. So here's what we will do today. It's action packed as always. First, Anna will introduce herself, and then we will talk a little bit about what role a website or sales page has in talking to the right audience and having the right crowd attracted to your content, like how important that is. And we will have another conversation at the end. In between, we will segue into the student getting topic, which is a large part of this training. And I know this is the most anticipated part of this boot camp for many of you. And finally, we will do a Q&A section, which I hope will be interactive. Yesterday, I could not see the comments. It was all delayed by Facebook, but I'm trying to do my best to keep up with everybody today. So Anna, why don't you say a little bit about yourself and how did you end up becoming a founding member of the teaching community and what you do there?
Awesome. Thank you. So I graduated from college 2 years ago, and I had a management and business degree with a studio art minor. So I've always been a creative, always loved working with teams and strategizing. I've recently explored some marketing careers. So that's kind of that combination for me of creativity and business that I love. Um, and now I am with the Teaching Co. So I am one of the founding members, which is such an honor. I am kind of the creative director with the team, working to build the website. And also branching out in other marketing efforts. We have just launched a new LinkedIn page, which is very exciting. There will be some other social media pages coming soon, so I will be taking charge with those. And so I originally came on with the TT Co, the teaching community, through James. And all four of us, James, Juji, David, and I, were together prior and came into this new space as an opportunity to really hone in on what we wanted to create. It's been such a pleasure working together, and I am really having such a great time being this creative mind in this space. So creating the website and everything that needs to go into it. Whenever I said to Juji this morning, whenever there's something that needs to be fixed on the website, I drop everything that I'm doing to do it, because I really want this space and this opportunity to be what it can be. So sorry, that's a long introduction, but
That's good. That's good.
just touching on my creative and graphic abilities, I've also been working with some people outside of the teaching community to help enhance my skills with the teaching community, working with people, individuals, to build their own websites. I have worked now with my aunt, Juji's delightful husband, and most recently my mom. I'm going to help them build something that they want to create. I'm also working with a few other people, but that's just one of the things that I'm really looking forward to get into and potentially to explore with the teaching community.
That's wonderful. And I have to tell you that you dipping your toes into teaching and tutoring is such a wonderful thing, because you really will understand the teachers who join us and the instructors and tutors and artists and craftsmen. I don't want to talk about exclusively about teachers. Whoever wants to teach and pass on something useful and you chooses the teaching community to build that baseline, I think it's wonderful that you can understand them from every single angle, how it feels to be them and how it feels to help them. Those are very important pieces of information and experience for you to experience and for them to experience with you. So I'm so happy that you are here with me today. And I think website is one of the biggest hangups that people have. Do I need a website? Should I have a website? What do I need on the website? How should it look like? And we will get into this conversation very soon. Okay. What I want to cover first is the main topic is which answers the how to get students question. Yeah, that's possibly the biggest one. It's like, okay, I understand that it's better to be independent, but how do I get people to learn from me? How do I get visible there? So how can I attract people? And this is such a massive topic that we created an entire course around it with 40 something lessons. So I want everybody to embrace the fact that we can only cover a little bit of that here, okay? In like 40 minutes. It's not possible to do more than that. And I want to start with some clarity. And I see that there are two misunderstandings that cause confusion. One is that there is some sort of magic wand tool that if we find that and we use that, then poof, you will just have tons of students. And unfortunately, a lot of courses are sold with promising something like that, which also feeds into this myth. Second, that if someone does have a calendar full of students, that is actually solve all their problems. So these are the two misconceptions. And let's do a quick reality check here. And then Anna and I will go over some crucial steps of standing out in the crowd and show some amazing hacks of her expertise. I hope that sounds good as an agenda for today. Yeah, good. So the magic wand topic. There is no magic wand to book out your student calendar. Okay, I'm just gonna rip that band-aid off immediately. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry if I have to disappoint people, and it happens a lot mostly to those who come to the training of some sort with this attitude of like, just give me the fish. And I'm all for the teaching them how to fish, approach. And I actually have a picture to share here, which I am a bit cheeky with. Okay, it's just to set the mood. Okay, so if you come with this attitude, do you see my screen?
It says you've started sharing, but I can't see anything.
No?
No, I don't.
Let me see if it works. Huh?
I would love to see the fish.
It shows on my screen. It's funny that you cannot see, Anna. Maybe there is a little bit of a delay.
Okay, maybe.
It says, feed me and tell me I'm pretty. If you come with this attitude, and it's a shark, okay? You're going to see it in the replay probably. It's weird that you are not able to see it. I don't know why that is. Anyway, I see that a lot of people think that it happens that way, that I'm going to give them the tool and they walk away and they're going to have a book their student calendar the next day. But nobody can do the work for you. I'm all for teach people how to fish, that approach, and we can show you the exact steps you need to take to build up a steady and consistent student base, because who wants a one-hit wonder? That's the other thing. One booked out week or one booked out month is not what anybody wants here. So to burst the other myth bubble, having a booked out calendar, even if it is off the roller coaster of the feast and famine cycle and it's relatively consistent, can still leave you completely overworked and underpaid, which I call the self-slavery cycle. We have a graduate student now in our TTCO community, and she's a perfect example. She teaches 6 days a week, works 10 hours a day, and barely makes enough money to support her family as a single mom. I think she had to realize that she needed a fundamental change in her business, and she started raising her prices and creating groups instead of teaching one-on-one, and getting a lot more intentional about having healthy boundaries around working hours and a much more systematic approach to her service. This is what we provide in the Book Out with Students course, and how to do all that. So Anna, let's do a little overview of what we do in the Booked Out with Students course. And because, as we said, as a teaching community team, we are taking the course in real time, which means that we drink our own champagne. And I will start, and I would like you to add whatever you would like and interject whatever you would like, okay?
Awesome.
Wonderful. So the first step, if I want to have a booked out teaching calendar, my very first job is to create, as I call it, a solid baseline. And for that, I have to go back to the drawing board and start with a good foundation. This is the first stepping stone, the initial phase, and focusing on your own zone of genius is what I call as the first step, to figure out what you are really good at, what lights you up, what makes you happy, not just because you're good at it, but you want to do it. That is such an important thing to define. And I know that Anna, you loved the session that we had on this in the TT Co. What was your biggest revelation there? Revelation, sorry.
Yes. I mean, I really love this pillar in particular, the zone of genius. I think that this just, as in a personal development sense, in a independent figural spot, this really allows you to say, you don't have to do everything. Find out what it is that you want to do. And it makes it completely your decision. It's your life. It is what you want. So that was something that I really appreciated about this, was kind of that slow down, write the 100 things that you love, like that make you who you are and what you love about yourself. So it's really about looking inward. And I just really appreciated that. That was kind of my favorite part when we were doing it together was, and it was, I mean, when we were together, it was kind of like a team building exercise as well. Everyone looking internally and seeing what it is that is so awesome about themselves and is their zone of genius, and how important that is to do. I mean, in a work setting, in an independent business setting, in your personal life, like for your personal development, it's really great.
Fantastic. And it's so true. And I think like I don't want to poo-poo the education system. I feel that I'm doing that a lot, but honestly, we are not taught properly how to do this, how to actually focus in a way that is objective enough, but also it's not full of like a lot of, apologetic kind of like modesty issues that we have. Like, shall I say good things about myself in public or not? Like that uncertainty is definitely there. And just to get used to the fact that you need to hone in on what you are good at, because nobody else is going to do it for you, especially when you start out as a solo teacher. And only after that you can start focusing on your students. Who do you like helping the most? Who are your favorite students, and why are they your favorite students? Then only when these two areas are covered can you dive into a market research and learn as much about them as possible. The more you know about your people, the better chance you have to attract more of them, right? So it's like, give me more students, but don't ask me questions about them. I just want more of them. Who do you want more of? That's a very important thing to define, I believe. And this is the only way how we can actually niche down, which is one of my favorite topics. And there is actually a free niching video already in this free group, in the unit 3 in this particular group. I'm going to put the link in the description box, because if you don't know what you are good at and what you can help people the best with or the most with, and then you don't know what they need from you, there will be a disconnect. You have to connect these two things, and they build on top of each other. That's how it works. That's the whole pillar 1 in Booked Out with Students is all about that. In the next pillar, we create a successful student pathway, which will be your solid baseline for everything that you do in your service. I cannot shut up about this. And by the way, Anna created a beautiful graphic picture of this, and I'm gonna share that. Can you hear me, Anna?
Sorry, I opened the Facebook and
you did? Yeah, that happens. That happens. I have to mute my phone before I do that because I keep doing the same thing.
Yes.
So here is your successful student pathway. It's just a PDF at the moment. Are you able to see it this time?
I can see now. This is great.
Wonderful. So this is your graphic that is already added to the teacher downloads for the teachers. Yes.
Yep.
And this is the pathway that is a template. And by the end of this pillar 2 in Booked Out with Students, you will have an entire page filled out with information about your students and about their progress. The starting point is where they are now, and the finish line, the happy little raindrop in this case, is where they want to be. And the path between is your service, your course, your coaching program, your instructor, course, whatever you create for them. And that's what you need to fill out. This is the gap that you have to fill so they can get where they want to be from where they are at now. And Anna, let's use your tutoring sessions and your tutoring experience to create an example here, okay? When they come to you, they are confused and they're not knowing where to start, like what do they say to you? What's happening there?
Yeah, so when I first meet with someone, I like to understand a bit about where they're at and what they want. And so when I first, in an initial meeting, the first question I ask is, what are your goals? What do you want out of this? Where do you want to be? And I think that kind of goes along with the zone of genius. Like, what is it that you want? What are you good at? And what do you want to create? And then you dive into, like, how can we get there? What are we going to complete in order to do that? What do you need to learn? What do you need to be exposed to? And one thing I love about that pathway is that we had it in Juji and I worked together in creating this, and we had a straight line, and we went with that kind of that pathway. It's not going to be like, oh, when I complete this, or when I read this article or talk to this person, that's check, done. Like, now I have 2 more students. It's not like that. It's going to be trial and error, figuring out what it works in order to get to your goal, because your goal, you've never gotten there before. That's the point of a goal, is that pathway is unknown. And so that's something that I just like to make sure is clear in the beginning, is what that person, that individual's goal is. And the process that you take to get there is different for everyone.
That's wonderful. Yes, and more students you get, the clearer it becomes what are the similarities and what are the differences on everybody's path. Because quite honestly, if they come to you for a website, like, there are particular stages and phases that will probably be there for everybody. Building a website, putting the copy and using the right design. I don't know your stages and your phases, but probably there is a particular process you have to go through with more or less everybody. And there are all those individual elements that you can attach to this progress. And that's exactly what the pathway is about, to refine it and define it better and better with every single student experience, at least at the beginning, until you gain enough experience to know confidently what everybody needs and wants. That's wonderful. Thank you, Anna, for the example. And I love everything that you said. You should come and teach at the teaching community.
Well, I love that point of how you're saying that with the next group of students, you're going to be able to do it better, because in the first time, it's your learning, and it's going to be, not everything's going to work, but then the next time that you go out there and do some of the same things, you'll see how those work, and maybe you can grow on those a bit more. And yes, I love that. It's very true.
It's never ending. That's why I keep saying obsessively to everybody to use a pencil, because you're going to change a lot of things all the time. And that's just something we need to embrace as entrepreneurs, because the best service providers, big or small, they do that too. You will see how things get more intuitively, you know, changed to your needs. If you like a service provider, you probably like them because you see that they literally respond to user needs really fast. And this is what we can do as a one-person shop as well. And that's the goal here. That's really important. Thank you for bringing that in, Anna.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yes, go ahead.
Sorry, real quick, just relating it to our team and the teaching community. I mean, and Juji's going to send a reminder to everyone to check out the website. But our website has completely changed from the beginning. Like we set something up and created something, and then we got feedback and grew this community, and we've totally transitioned to be something that is best fit for our community and allows us to grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What a good example. Exactly. I didn't even think about that. Thank you.
Yeah.
For instructors and teachers and tutors, I think this conversation proves that the student pathway is an absolute must. Filled up with as much detail as possible. Now it's little, it will be more. But if you want to be a successful online educator, and here we only give a glimpse of what we do in a systematic step-by-step manner in the course. So if this is just a little flicker. So on the student pathway, we build your messaging, we build your offer or package or course or coaching program, whatever you're creating, yes, what you teach practically, depending on what you do. And once these are clear, you can start communicating with your future or present students on a completely different level. Having this solid baseline gives not only focus and direction, but also it gives confidence when you show up and try to attract people to what you do. And this is so important, because I think we can all agree that people just feel that, right? That's what they do. When people like what I do, they go first, you're so enthusiastic about this, that the feeling sensation sticks with them more than what I say. And that's such an important little giveaway here. Yeah.
Totally.
Wonderful. So let me wrap up the last pillar, and then we will focus on your expertise, okay?
Awesome.
In the last pillar, we mostly zone in on your outreach or anybody's outreach strategy and content strategy, creating a rock solid content game plan, which includes choosing your main content platform and the places that you reach the most people at. It doesn't matter what the trends are, you need to know where your people are. That's how you can reach them. And without a well-defined audience, without the right offer and the right messaging, social media presence doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? Like, who are you posting it for? Where are you posting it? How do you choose where and what and why to do it, right? So we need to build it up to it. And I think Anna has a really cool house metaphor for you. She decides to share when we get to her zone of genius in a second. And whatever is included in this last pillar, I just wanted to say that there's a really good pricing strategy in here for you. And that is really important. Price what you do too high and you're going to struggle to get students, right? Price it too low and you're going to struggle as well, either to get people because they don't think that you are, good enough for them, or because you're just not making enough money, and we don't want that. So getting very strategic and intentional about the pricing is an important part of attracting the right students. And I have a free pricing video in this group as well in Unit 4 to help you with that. So that's for everybody. I'm going to put the link in here as well. I know I have a lot of videos, so I have to direct people to the right one. And of course, you will need to take a look at your own scheduling system and your own boarding system, and however you serve these people to amaze your prospects and impress your students and make your life easier and make your service more efficient from start to finish. You need to systematize everything. And I think a lot of teachers have like an aversion to this. So that's what happens. And this is why I say that if I were a magic pixie and poof, I just filled your calendar with students, you would have so many other questions coming up immediately. How to create the right content, how to communicate with people, how to build healthy boundaries from the get-go so they don't, you know, burn you out, and it's not going to be their fault if they do. How to have a good refund policy, for example. And the list goes on and on and on. At the beginning, we talked about the misconception a lot of educators have of like, if I could have a booked out student calendar, I would be fine. It's not that simple, and there is no plug and play one-step tool for this. I'm sorry to kill that one for you guys. We all want the same things, but we need to take the steps, the right strategic steps to get there. And I have 4 steps to summarize what I just was throwing at everybody, okay? Step number 1 is define who you want to help with and find your unique solution for them within your zone of genius. Step 2 is to get super duper clear on your messaging and on a clear pathway that ensures progress to your students. Step 3 is get crystal clear on what you do and how you communicate that to your people. And finally, create a viable, we can call it a viable ecosystem that includes an outreach and content creation strategy and logical systems in place that make your life easier and help you impress your people and helps you with student retention. So one thing that can help you enormously with reaching out to your prospects and communicate what you do well is what Anna does, right? So our specific unique angle today is her expertise, and I'm so happy to bring this on board here. So Anna, here's a question. Can you say a little bit about how you see a well-built sales page or website, or even just a well-constructed PDF with the right branding as a starter works in this ecosystem? What can it do for people to make sure that they reach the right people?
Yeah, of course. Well, I think the main takeaway from those 4 points is clarity, and creating clarity, what
Yes.
you're offering, who you're targeting, and how that breach between you and the customer will be fulfilled in a very clear manner. So whether that is communicated on your website, who you are, what you're offering, and who you want to cater to, or that's communicated in a PDF flyer or on your social media. That is very important to say straight out what you are, who you want to work with, how you're going to help them, and writing those down, like those WH questions, what, who, where, when, can be very helpful to create that clarity in your creative space. When actually with Spellingva, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, when we met with her
Yes.
a few weeks ago, she kind of helped me create this metaphor of the house. So you have your home, you have your constructed home from the ground up. The structure of it is your curriculum, what you're building, and you have your furniture. So that's probably your classes, maybe your students, like the pieces that build up your home and make it what it is. But then the paint on the walls and how the furniture is laid out is your design element. So that, and the outside facade of your house, that's what's going to bring people in and make them have an initial trust for what you do and who you are. So if you don't have something that, if you don't have a house with a welcome sign and big clean windows on the outside that bring someone in, then no one's going to walk up to your house and knock on the door. Like it's all about creating something that that you would want to go to, that you know that your zone of genius, your favorite students would want to come to. So I love that house metaphor because I feel like it really speaks true to a teacher and their curriculum. And one thing that we also talked about was translating that to a classroom too. So as a teacher, whether you have been online your whole life or used to work in the classroom, it's a helpful, I mean, teachers, whether you did only work online, you understand classroom environment as you probably were in the education system at a younger age.
Most of us, yeah.
Yeah, not to assume, but I would assume. But when you walk into a teacher's classroom on the first day of class, you see, like when you're in first grade, I don't know why my mind's immediately going there, but you see all the things on the wall and it makes you feel comfortable to be there. And so taking your classroom and translating it into the online space is just as important with your design, and if not way more important, because it can be so easily overlooked if the design elements and the clarity are not there.
So true,
And
so true.
I'm saying that in a perspective where I really understand that and I know how to create design and build websites. But if you don't, then finding the resources that can help you do that are important. One thing that we have been experiencing as a team inside is having that ability to delegate and say, okay, Anna, like you are the creative. Can you create this? Jajana and I have come really good at, Jajana has these ideas and she really is the creative director because she created this space, but I'm going to take those ideas and make them into what I believe she wants, what she's telling me, but more. So that's something that Jajana uses me to do that. And anyone in the teaching
I'm
community,
using you.
that, use me, use me. So I think that that's just an important note with that is, yes, clarity and good design are very important, but also finding the right places to get those. Don't necessarily do it all on your own. Do research, sorry, I'm jumping around, but that is one of the first things that I say in a meeting with an individual client working on their website is, what are your goals? And then we leave that meeting with saying, okay, do research, find out what websites you like, who are some of your biggest inspirations in your space, who is it that you're going to pull from, because you're not creating something out of nothing. There's people out there that you can get some really great stuff from and then create something on your own.
So true, Anna. And especially if they don't want to do on their own because they feel like, I call it the hoarder's hallway syndrome, that you start hoarding all these freebies and that's how I'm going to stitch everything together by myself. But for me, it gets out of hand really fast, especially if it's not my expertise. And then reaching out to somebody like you and say, hey, I need clarity first because I don't know what I want anymore. And I get the ideas, but I don't know how to execute those ideas. This is when your clarity helps me to get clear on what I need and what I want. And that's where cooperation and community work is super important. In our community, you can ask the others, what do you like about it? What you dislike about it? What's clear? What's confusing? What works? What doesn't work? It's so wonderful to have others, not just to struggle all by yourself in front of this little rectangle shaped bubble here that we call the world sometimes as online teachers, to have the ability to hear others talk just like Anna does now and get these light bulb moments that I always have whenever we talk. So thank you so much for that. Is there anything else, like practical advice, that you want to give to people?
Practical advice. So in a design element, in a design space?
Yes, to create like something that is communicating what they want for real and attract the right people with it, possibly.
Yes. So marketing and finding the right words, keywords are very important. Very, very important. I mean, you will see it in SEO page lookups. So if So for example, the teaching community, if our site has keywords, when something is Googled, our site will come up. So online education and teaching and educators. So there's certain words that we want to put out there so that we reach the right audience. So taking some time and thinking about those words are very important. So if you are a math instructor teaching algebra, but you teach more than algebra, take yourself out of algebra and look at, okay, math, who's taking my class right now? Where are they? What state in the world are they at? Where, like, are they online? Hopefully they're online because I need them to be, like, how am I going to communicate to them? And I think one of the hardest things to do is putting yourself in someone else's shoes, but it is very important, very, very important. And so this comes with thinking, writing, strategizing, coming up with these on your own, but also, as I said, research, looking and seeing what is already out there that is going to help you. So whether it's looking at competitors and finding out what keywords that they use, and when you Google like online educators for math classes, who comes up and what are those keywords? I think that is just very important. I mean, I know that is very important for your presence, your marketability, and your growth. So that's
Perfect. I couldn't have said it any better. Thank you, Anna. And this comes full circle with like define what you are good at and define what people want. Without that and mirroring their language and using that clarity of those buzzwords that Anna uses on our website with the copy, they come from you. They come from you people. You're using those words and you're telling us what you need. And that's what we want to show you that we can give you. And that's what we cater to. And this is so important to have that connection. And this is a very good, like, it just gave me this moment of thinking as I was listening to you that design and branding connects people literally, because you feel that the familiarity, you feel that, oh my gosh, this person really gets me. And part of that is the organic copy that you create, which is readable and easy to understand and design the right way so people can consume it, right? So that's just a quick connection that I just made. I always have light bulb moments, as I said. And I want to summarize this with my own words, okay? What you said was beautiful. I don't even try to recap it. So a well-designed page of any sort, which can be just a PDF. I'm telling you that this doesn't have to be like an expensive website, can help clear communication and help support you a very intentional outreach strategy. And it can also help you to get organized around who you are and what you do and create literally a shortcut to be perceived as experts and stand out in the crowd if it's done the right way. What would you, is that an accurate summary? Yeah?
Yes. I also, I love the part of not necessarily that you have to have a website. There are many different forms on the web in this electronic space where you can promote yourself and create a business. While a website really does help with having a one-stop shop where you could potentially purchase courses, communicate, and see that clarity of what it is that they're offering. But I mean, social media has the same exact like regression right now. Like a lot of people are starting a business on their Instagram platform, their Facebook platform there to begin with. And so I think whether you are gung-ho about having a website to create that clarity, or you really prefer Instagram, the platform, the space is yours. You create that clarity of what you want and then put it out there totally. So Juji said a website or a PDF. Yes, like it's whatever you are most comfortable with to create, or whatever you ask someone to help you with. It's important to create that clarity.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anna. And I love how many things I think we clarified for people here, because I know that these question marks are huge. Like, do I need a website or do I not? And if I do, when and what and how? And it's just so much simpler when you have someone who is in her own zone of genius giving these answers. So thank you so much for that. And I'm just mindful of the time, so I'm going to give the homework to people. Are you ready?
Good, yeah.
What I would like them to do is to draw a very basic student pathway. And I have mine. And this will show you guys what Anna has to deal with on a daily basis when I ask her to make things clear and beautiful. Okay. So, but I use it as a tool of encouragement. Okay. So this is how my student pathway looked at the beginning. Are you able to see the little stick figure at the beginning? And then there is the happy one at the other end.
Yeah, light,
Can you
but
see it?
see it.
Yeah, and these are the pictures I keep bombarding Anna with, like, hey, make this work. That's what happens between us. But if it's good enough for me, it's going to be good enough for everybody, because everyone can draw this. And what I want you to focus on is your students that you have or you want to have when they start out. What do they feel? What do they think? What do they do? What are their struggles, their roadblocks, their problems? And then we're going to kind of skip the pathway. We will fill that out tomorrow. We're going to skip the pathway for now. And next we will focus on the desires that they are having. Where do they want to be? Who do they want to become when they come to you for help? We will tie this together, as I said, tomorrow, but for now, just focus on the beginning and the ending, and then how to close that gap. That's going to be another piece of content for you. I want to do it in a very digestible and doable and bite-sized fashion. So step by step, everybody can get to the end. You will have a curriculum planner. You will have a student pathway, at least the draft of it by the end of the day tomorrow. And I hope you're ready for some questions, Anna, because we have some questions coming in.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I read a couple?
Sure. Are you looking on the, yes, please go right ahead.
Yeah, I collected a couple before, but I'm also going to go back and refresh my page. So this one is from Charlie. He's asking, what is the best way to attract individual I have to put I'm sorry, I have to put my glasses on to read it right. I'm blind as a mouse. So what is the best way to attract individual potential students when you have a quite specific niche? Example, potential students might be working in an office job as a receptionist. That's a really good question, I think. And I think Charlie is in a good place already because he has a niche.
Yeah.
So I have an answer here, and I'm just going to give my what comes to me. And then if you want to spin it off, Anna, you're absolutely welcome to. Okay. So what I would do first, I would definitely go for learning as much about these people as possible. Where do they hang out, right? Anna already touched on this. What problems do they commonly share? What frustrations do they have? What are their goals, their dreams, their desires? And now I sound like Lucifer. Anybody watches that show, like, what do you desire? But you really want to know that, and you want to get into their shoes. And how do they consume content? What an important piece of information we often forget to ask. It's just like, hey, where do you hang out? That's a question to ask from those people you want to target, right? Do they read stuff? Do they watch videos? Do they prefer listening instead because they are way too busy to even stop for a video, or reading is out of the question? Once you have some of those answers, you can start creating very intentional, proactive, and strategic content that will attract a specific audience. And obviously, the curriculum will back that up, and it will only get better as you know more about their needs and roadblocks and goals, right? That's my short answer to this question. Anything else that you would like to say about like targeting a specific niche from your angle, Anna?
Yeah. I think one really great way to not only get answers, but also to expand and create brand awareness is with surveys. So one great way to do this, to put this out, is on your social media platforms to create a survey that, whether it's directly toward, you want these answers directly from your potential students, or you just want this from a general perspective so that you can gain knowledge about then finding those students. Putting surveys out is a really great way to ask these questions. How do you digest information? What do you do? Where do you hang out? And from here, you can get either people that you want to work with, or people can see what you're doing and connect you with other people. But I really think, I've said it a few times, but doing research and gathering that information is really, really important. So creating a survey is super easy. You can do that on Google Forms. Typeform is another platform that we have both used, but just putting out a link, asking other people to share it, and then you will have all of that information in the end. You'll be able to go into your survey and see, what are these people? Who are these people? What are they really thinking? Because I said it earlier too, I think a really difficult thing is putting yourself in someone else's shoes. And with that, remembering that everyone is so different, and everyone, like, I would think everyone consumes information via email or scrolling through social media, but no, that's not true at all. Like, there's so many different ways that people consume information, and it's important to get that feedback for yourself to create something that works.
That's such a good thing, such a good idea. And it's not a secret that in Booked Out with Students, we actually have a particular download that will help you put a survey together. That's one of the helpful tools that we created for you, because this is such an important step to take. And I would never skip market research for anything. This is the reason why we need to know most about the people, so we can actually hone in on the messaging and attract content that they actually want to consume. Such a good idea. Thank you, Anna. And let's move on with the questions. So we have time for this is a big one too. It was originally posted by Esther, and it was backed up by a few other people who were like, yeah, that's my question too. So I'm going to read it. How can I achieve a wider reach to move beyond my acquaintances and to move beyond my city? So far, all my students have found me through word of mouth. And I have a spin on this for Esther and for Erika and Spela, who also chimed in. And then I want to hear your input, Anna. What I would say first, that word of mouth in the cyberspace equals referral. It happens there too. Word of mouth is not confined to actual physical content, especially now in COVID times, right? I think that a strategic content that you put out there, same thing that we said to Charlie, right? And a systematic referral network in which you actually reward people for referring you would be the two initial steps to take. Whatever, we said about asking people where they consume content, find where they hang out, make your content interesting and attractive enough by answering the questions they have, addressing the problems they have, helping them to get mini solutions instantly. This is your free content strategy here. Then go ahead and make sure that those who do recommend you feel really special about it. So I hope this answers the question. Again, I'm like holding myself back. I have so much to say here. What would you say about getting beyond like city or even country borders? Because in the online space, it's possible.
Yes, exactly. I mean, my first initial go-to is the online space. Utilize your social networks, just your social media. It's just going to take you so far. And so whether it is asking one of your connections and one of your existing students to repost something onto their social media, or give you a little testimonial or something, it's okay, and it is very important to ask. that is something that I have found. I was recently working for a MLM company, and I was experiencing the need to ask. You need to ask for help, or support, or ways in which you can expand your network. And the best way to do that is something that you have already created. So one thing that I have just recently experienced was asking someone who I was working with if they could go out, find 5, 10 people that I could just meet over Zoom. And that was a way for me to grow my network, expand. And the digital world is the best place to do that. I met 7 new women or new people on Zoom, because this one person that I was working with, she had friends that were there that she just wanted to, she asked them to come on and just listen. So easy, just that's all it takes. Will you please just come on and listen? So I asked her and she asked them. That is networking in itself. Finding, utilizing who you have, and just asking a simple question. So I'd say I have 2 answers to that: is really utilize your social media. Ask someone to post something. Like put yourself into a new group, a new place, like talking about what you have to offer, just exposing yourself to new realms in the online space. There will never be a limit to that. And then diving into your network and asking for help there. I would say definitely build off of each other. Um, and that's just a really great way to find success, is to ask for support.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Anna. I love how, the different angles come together. And I think that we gave a very thorough answer here. And I also am mindful about the time. Again, I wish this would not end, but at the same time, I want to keep it like digestible for the people that we are serving. So it is so good to have you here. And I'm super proud I am so proud to introduce such a creative and talented team member to this particular crowd. And everybody knows that Anna does help artists and instructors and other awesome creators to shape what they do into a clear channel on their page or on their platform, whatever that is. And if you join our community by joining one of our courses, you will get her support as well. Isn't that awesome? So, yay! Tomorrow, we are going to dive into service and business setup details with the one and only James Green, who has grown not one, but several startup businesses from $0 up to $100 million in revenue. That is mind-blowing for me, and I think we really want to hear what he has to say. And thank you so much. Don't forget that there is a prize if you submit your homework. Take a snapshot of your hand-drawn student pathway. It doesn't have to look better than mine, and throw it in the comments to get access to our paid materials and content. Anna, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, Gigi. It was such an honor. I hope
Wonderful.
that I really believe that was a good, awesome lesson.
I think so too. Absolutely. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.